All right. Hey, Facebook and LinkedIn world. We are live with some of the best of the best. Super honored to have these guests join me. And not only have I been working with these guys for years and years now, but I've been able to tell their stories individually and up on stage and really give them a podium to speak from too. So as we're coming together today, there's been so much activity and so much growth and so many success stories. And that success will breed success when that is turned outward. And I'm a big proponent. And what we do here on the Inside Edge is pulling out those success stories and allowing people to learn from it, take advantage of it, leverage it, support and create green lights in your world, and allowing you to really step into the best versions of you. So these are all loan officer originators. Russ Fitzpatrick, as my co-host, is the co-founder of AnnieMac Worx. Him and his beautiful bride have spent a lot of time really crafting and creating a world for our loan officers at AnnieMac to be able to exclusively offer our referral partners, broker owners, teams, and individual agents really the opportunity to have more from us as their lender than just great rates, great products, great service, and turn times, even though that is so important, as well as Krispy Kreme donuts. But
ouch.
We gotta say, at the end of the day, it's how can we really give before we expect to receive? How can we step into a world inside of our brokerages and add value, create new streams of income, stability, and recruiting opportunities inside of KW, RE/MAX, Century 21. So without stealing the thunder of today's show, we wanted to bring on some of the top producers that have spent their time in really utilizing the platform and have won over so many opportunities inside of top agent level brokerages and what they've been able to do to transform and take them to next levels when they're already at top performing levels, right? This is about going from good to great to phenomenal to your zone of genius. So I would like to turn it over to my co-host, Russ Fitzpatrick, Uncle Russ, as I call him. I have to give so much credit to him, teaching me so much that I know today and being the messenger of AnnieMac Home Mortgage and growing this family. So guys, thank you for being here. And Russ, you're the best.
Thank you, Kelsey. Thank you, Kelsey. And I think the Uncle Russ moniker came from you coming straight out of college as an assistant, originally in AnnieMac Nation, and just blossoming and growing. And I'm actually maybe the most proud of the work you've done over these last few years and the brand ambassador you've become for the AnnieMac Nation. So I'm proud to accept the title Uncle Russ. I feel like I had that uncle role in your development a little bit, right?
You sure did. And you constantly were cheering me on, and no doubt, we all need a little help from our friends from time to time, right?
Yeah, and this group that we have today are three of the brightest brand ambassadors for the AnnieMac Nation, and really foster that pay it forward idealism that we started with nearly 10 years ago. And we're going to get to their stories over the next few minutes, but I could tell you that there's 100 other stories inside the AnnieMac Nation with MLOs that used the AnnieMac Worx productivity platform as an olive branch in those real estate brokerages that they're attracted to working with, that are creating great relationships with team leaders across the country, not only with the new blowing up EXP brand. KW Campus has come on strong, and our RE/MAX Worx relationships are just phenomenal. So these three are going to highlight some of the things that they've done in their local markets. But I want to tell you that about 10 years ago now, I sat down with the folks at AnnieMac, and we started talking about two main ideals that have really come into their own within AnnieMac Home Mortgage. And the number one is putting realtors first. If a mortgage brand really puts their realtors first and really focuses on a realtor-centric culture, then the questions start to arise. Well, what could we do if we were a company that was going to put our real estate referral partners first? How would that feel? What would what would that touch, taste, and feel like, you know? And I can't tell you how awesome it's been, because Kelsey, you probably know, going back as long as anybody, when we started, we had about 6 training modules. We had like 2 instructors, and we really grew it through MLO feedback. And there's been some incredible MLO feedback during this last 6 months that's really taken us to the next level. But for our viewers, people who are new to this conversation, I just want to say, when we decided to put realtors first, the second part of that puzzle was drawing a line down the center of a piece of paper and really giving some forethought to what it meant to be a realtor. You know, if you listed everything that realtors think about on the left side of a piece of paper today, you'd have 15 or 20 items that are very important to realtors, right? And then if you listed all the things that are most important to mortgage professionals, you'd have a completely different list. Those two lines don't line up all the time, right? So taking residential lending professionals and giving them a forum to really focus on what's important to our realtors has become the second piece of, or the way that we're putting realtors first. So just as a kind of a cap or a recap, you know, putting realtors first, we started out seeing that there were broker owners who needed training in their offices. They didn't have a forum that was really magnetic and charismatic and could help them recruit and retain agents. So that was the first void in the market that we started to fill going back 10 years ago.
And
then
Russ,
we took that teaching.
If I could quick chime in for our audience, I want everybody to know too, you ran one of the top 5 RE/MAX offices in the nation. You come from that world. And I don't think I shared that with our audience. So you are speaking from your own personal experience, correct?
Well, I worked with the 5th largest RE/MAX office for most of my career, but I also opened and operated the #1 exit realty franchise in America for about 13 years. I was really proud of the production we pulled out of that facility. And the way that we recruited agents to both RE/MAX and Exit Realty during that tenure was we really focused on best practice sharing, pass me down wisdom, really specific accountability and business development work that we did with our agents. And then when we approached the AnnieMac Nation, we went right at that. We said, there's got to be some things we can teach realtors to help them make more money. Then when we got through some of the teaching and training stuff, most of my MLO partners nationally, really these guys, said, hey, we got to do something, you know, a little more advanced or a little deeper dive. And that's when we got into coaching. I'm really excited to talk about what Michael did down in Nocatee with our coaching programs. We started to say, well, if we can do little 30 to 45-minute training modules with realtors and we can make an impact with them, how much of an impact could we make for our realtor partners if we met with them for 6 weeks in a row and really brought in some really strong leadership to help them understand the nuance of those production opportunities? And I'll tell you what, there was a hockey stick trajectory change when we started working with agents and coaching, because think about it, you know, you have chicken and a half an hour training module and everyone high fives and leaves. But if you come back for 6 weeks with the brand, you come back 6 weeks with Michael Cancio, you come back 6 weeks with Mark Townsend, you come back 6 weeks with an MLO, you're building a relationship within that 6-week period as well. So coaching changed the game for us entirely. And then the next thing that we did, and then I'm going to turn it over to these guys to let you hear their stories, is we started to understand how technology could change the relationship between a mortgage professional and a realtor. You know, social media clickbait, driving in hundreds and hundreds of leads per month, you know, automation with their social media to help them look better in their local markets. And most agents, you know, don't necessarily have a defined personal brand. You know, there's a lot of agents that kind of struggle with identifying what their personal brand is. So getting in there and helping them with technology, helping them with their social media, and really helping differentiate our realtors with topics like real estate staging or the renovation lending certification. These are incredible opportunities that help these agents brand and really feel proud to have an extra, you know, arrow in their quiver or whatever you want to call it, just an extra tool at their disposal. So without further ado, I'll start to talk about the successes of these guys rather than just the program. But before I do, Kelsey, do you have any specific questions about the Worx platform that you'd like to share with the audience before we go into these individual stories?
No, I think we dive in. I think just for our audience, really understanding that AnnieMac Worx is a real estate coaching productivity platform. And there's a few layers. There's the coaching, training, and teaching. There's the designations, which is going to level up credibility and building a niche in that agent's world. Then there's the live lunch and learn league, which is going to help you be in person on stage, but having a speaker and a coach training your agents on various different topics monthly. Then there's the technology and the digital lead share strategy.
Deeper and deeper and deeper, doesn't it?
For each type of person. So, we're going to take you on a ride, and we encourage you to link up with these guys, ask them questions. I mean, nothing's more powerful than a personal testimonial. So take it away, Uncle Russ.
Two things we didn't touch on, and I really am so excited about. We just acquired a new relationship with a real estate school that allows us to offer CE credits in many of the states we serve. These CE credits are becoming a popular way for our MLOs to integrate even more value into the AnnieMac Worx productivity platform. So we're acquiring more state licenses for real estate schools as we go. By the end of this calendar year, I'm pretty sure we'll be in every state that we do business in. And the last thing is, I mentioned in the intro, we only had 2 instructors and 3 or 4 classes when we started with the AnnieMac home mortgage relationship going on 10 years ago. Today we have 80 training modules with 17 different instructor teams, and it's just a smorgasbord of best practices and opportunity sharing for these realtors. So I'd like to focus on Mark Townsend for a minute. He's in Vernon, Connecticut, right, and works in central Massachusetts as well. And I had a surprise this morning on the call with you, Mark. First of all, how long have you been in the mortgage industry?
If I tell you that, I'll have to tell you how old I am. Let's say over 30 years.
Oh gosh, okay.
I was a young buck when I started, so.
Well, you're not a rookie, so that's an important upgrade. So
absolutely.
You know what the surprise was today? I knew you were actively involved in National Lunch and Learn League events over the years, but I didn't realize how much work you did with the local boards of realty and some of those bigger brokerages in Connecticut and Massachusetts. You mind sharing some of those experiences and how that worked for you?
So we started when I got on board. I'll tell you, one of the reasons I came to AnnieMac was because of Vince and Mike Mandio talking about AnnieMac Worx before I even knew what it was, and that was what intrigued me about helping out the realtors, giving them that value added proposition right up front. That's one of the reasons I came on board here. But when we started our lunch and learns, we started in this really tiny office. You could only get like 10 people in, and we were packed constantly. So what happened was one of the people that was the president of the Tri-County board came to me and said, "Mark, this would be great to present at the Tri-County board." So it kind of grew from there. We've done probably 6 or 7 a year at the Tri-County board. We're the most popular one there. Our events are always sold out. In fact, sometimes we overbook because they can only get 30 people in a room. So what we'll do is we'll do one on a Wednesday and then one on the following week to get those people that couldn't get in there. But it really started in that little room, and there's one room office that I had, and just trying to get as many chairs around my son's TV that I stole from his room to stick up on the wall, and it kind of just took off from there.
Well, that is cool stuff. Can you tell me how the Board of Realty played into that? Because this is new to me. I knew that Pat had done some really cool work with the Gloucester-Salem Board of Realty, but I wasn't aware of how much the Board of Realty helped you promote and host some of those events. Can you touch on that real quick?
Sure. So they do a monthly mailer that they send out to all the members on there, and they basically announce whoever's doing the lunch and learns. And they really promote, they want to know up front what we're going to do to help their agents. So we kind of sit down with the president, we sit down with the board members, we kind of discuss exactly, like, we're going to do staging. Staging is very popular. That one was sold out. I think I did 3 of those in 1 week. Renovation lending, things like that. These are subject that the agents really wanted some more information on. So not only did they promote it on email, on Facebook, they actually called agents to make sure that they were, going to be able to attend. And it didn't help that, we didn't just do pizza and, no offense, but we didn't do donuts or anything like that. I actually had Moe's Cater. I had Boston Chicken come in, things like that. So the food was really good as well. So
for some of our emerging mortgage professionals online, were you laying out the money for the lunches, or did you have a co-sponsor on some of those events? Did you help someone else pick up the tab for like the lunches and things like that, or did you do it all yourself?
Great question. So initially, I did it all myself, but then I started partnering with attorneys, and I started partnering with an insurance agent who I do a lot of business with. And in fact, the last couple of ones, I didn't come out of pocket for anything.
Well, in case our audience missed it, the Board of Realty promoted the events for you.
Right.
The attorneys partnership paid for the events for you. You showed up with that beautiful smile and said, "Hey, my name's Mark Townsend. I'm here to bring value for you and the realtors." And now you're the benefactor of those new realtor referral relationships. Talk to me real quickly before we move on about your production, specifically relevant to those lunch and learn events, and some relationships that you remember were brand new out of just having them visit you for the first time at those events.
Sure. So I have probably 5 or 6 right off the bat. We're agents that I had never done business with. And, one of the things I did, first of all, is when they started following up and wanting more information and started doing business, I wanted to find out how much volume they did. Come to find out, I hit a couple pretty big whales. Bill and Denise Webster from Keller Williams was a team that I really started doing a ton of business with, and they became good friends. One agent that I had done some business with before, but refused to come to a lunch and learn because she kind of thought she knew it all, lost a listing to a rookie that we did a staging presentation for. Next thing I know, she's at all my lunch and learns. But and recently we just picked up another big Keller Williams account. I have 2 big Berkshire Hathaway accounts. So my production has really taken off, probably, I wouldn't say quite doubled, but pretty close to that because of and we're 90% purchase up here. I don't do, last year was a big refi year, but for the most part, we're almost all purchase business. And, all of our referrals come directly to us, or we generate our own referrals. We don't have any type of other Zillow or any other type of referral service. So it was a big change for us.
Well, Mark, let me just say, the sentiment that you just expressed and why I got so excited was, on the surface, mortgage professionals and maybe even many realtors think that becoming a staging expert is about somehow decorating houses and, putting in that Joanne Gaines kind of fixer-upper mindset. But it's really about taking listings. It's really about a pronounced value add that the realtor has and gains some sense of swagger or sense of differentiation when they're walking into those living rooms. And to hear a rookie competing with an experienced veteran and maybe even winning a listing just for that one unique value proposition, that's what it's all about. So thank you so much, Mark. And I want to segue into this. You started watching Pat Staffa's production go up, and then you started to say, what's this guy doing out there? And then you started to pick his brain, and that's kind of how some of this started to happen for you. Before I go on to Pat, is that a fair estimation of how you pursued this?
Well, yeah, I was doing my own thing, but when Pat really got involved in it, the nice thing was that we kind of shared ideas, and we started doing some live events, and we would share actually the content of what we were doing. And so I got to give him props because he actually helped me, take it to do more of a personal presentation as opposed to maybe watching a video kind of thing. And Pat's the one that started that. So he shared it with me. I would do another type of subject. I would share it with him, and we would just critique it and make it our own. But yeah, he absolutely. And then we, I think 2 years ago, we had a little kind of like round table that you presented before sales rally. And that was very helpful too, just to get down there. And I failed terribly at some of the stuff I did down there, but I got better for it. So yeah, I got to give Pasqualino some definitely serious prompts there.
Absolutely. Big, huge fan of Mr. Staffa. I met you when you had left AnnieMac Home Mortgage. You were looking for some greener pastures. You went out, you were a onesie twosie kind of a guy as your explanation, right? And then you said, well, I'm going to come back to AnnieMac Home Mortgage and actually embrace the tools that they've got. So that's when you and I started spending time together. And we actually coined the phrase brand ambassador around the work you were doing. What I want to share with the audience real quick as I make the introduction is, just like Mark said, he was happy with the content, but the real estate staging event is a 3-hour event that's now approved for continuing education in many states. The reality is Pat wanted something more intimate. Pat wanted to kind of condense it down as an intro where he was the brand ambassador sharing it. And before we get into what you did with the Boards of Realty, talk to me about how you made them your own and you kind of like took them on and became kind of the instructor in that room sometimes.
So basically, I learned the material. I would watch the videos and I would ask for the PowerPoints and I would learn it. And then just kind of, I would learn as I would go in front of the group. Because playing a video is easy, but when you're up there, and Russ, you do a phenomenal job at this, and watching you present it is where I got the ambition to do it, is you're selling yourself up there and your audience is captivated by you and your personality. And that's the biggest ingredient in doing these lunch and learns. It's not so much the material that you're teaching, but you're also up there selling yourself. And these people, these agents, will then start asking you questions and start gravitating towards you. And then you start diving deeper into a relationship with them. And that's my biggest takeaway from it, is doing it live and doing a great job at it and selling yourself, not just the Worx platform and what you're teaching them.
Mm-hmm. I like that.
So we have,
if I could chime in real quick, the way that we drive the audience. So a lot of times when I talk to loan officers, they're like, yeah, I need to do more live events. It's just, I don't have the time and I'm trying to prospect and I'm trying to manage my files. And I'm a mom, I'm a dad, I'm doing all these things and their heads are spinning around. Right. And Pat, talk to us about some of the marketing that we've been able to do around your live events through text messaging, through video, through voicemail bombs, through just the advertisement that you haven't had to kind of pick up the pencil and do it yourself. It's very automated on your behalf.
Yeah, exactly. Like the flyers are super easy. It'll create the flyers for you. We have the voicemail broadcast that we send out. And over time, as I do these classes, I'll have the contact information for these agents. So I always keep them in the loop. Even with our CRM, MIQ, it always sends out blasts weekly, monthly, whatever the case may be. But on the marketing side, it's super simple because we have a handful of different tools that we could use without having to really pick up the phone and make one-on-one calls. So you can hit the masses and your audience to invite them to the next event and let them know what's coming down the pipeline with the Worx platform.
I always say too that the Goodyear blimp doesn't sell tires, but that institutional presence flying over the stadium really gives the consumer an understanding of the commitment that Goodyear Tires makes to that audience and to those consumers. I feel the same way about your MIQ work and your voicemail work. Even if I don't attend, like Mark's friend from Caldwell, even if I don't attend, I still know what AnnieMac stands for. They're a pay-it-forward organization. They're bringing value to me and my industry, and they're investing in me and my company. And even if I don't make the event, it certainly speaks to me that individual, Pat Staffa, is a main player in the mortgage industry here in New Jersey or in Delaware or Pennsylvania, right?
Exactly. And I'm a big advocate of being, creating a team about it and more like, our whole presence as AnnieMac is a family, right? We always say within the company and we all brand each other as a family. Same thing with these agents. Like I've become good friends with these agents where they're at my house, I'm at their home. We're always doing something together and it's just like a tight knit community. But the biggest thing is we all want to grow as loan officers. We want to grow our business. We want to help more families. We want to do bigger volume and so on and so forth. Our realtors want to do the same thing. They want to grow. They want to help more families, sell more real estate. So if I could give them something that they could take away and implement into their business and help grow, we just grew together. And they're going to forever be indebted to you and vice versa. So that's why Worx is powerful, because you're giving back to the people that give to you every day. Anyone could buy a lead, right? Anyone could pay for marketing. Anyone could do that, but it's so impersonal. When you're teaching them and you're helping them grow and they're helping you grow, that speaks volumes, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm excited about that because if you think about the old adage, give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day, right? That's leads. teach a man how to fish, he can eat for a lifetime, right? And
Right.
that's really using things that we learned in Farming Fridays or E-Bowl or any of those, very specific calls to action that we give to realtors. But Pat, I think the thing that you did that was most amazing to me, and I was at the first event and I was absolutely blown away. The seating in the room was for 72 people. Remember that?
We had
And
100.
you had 140 people show up, right? So we ended up having to split it into 2 events, asked people to leave for a couple hours to come back after. I mean, it was mind-boggling and created so much energy in Gloucester-Salem. Talk about the first event and then talk about how you picked up on that after the fact.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think it was going to be as big as it was. And the reaction was tremendous. So we had to, have you come up and help me out with it, because I probably would have failed my first time. But watching you do that class is really what catapulted me to where I am today and doing it, just like you basically. But yeah, I mean, the board was blown away. They wanted to kill me, but they loved it in the same token, because we put way too many people in one small room. But then they realized how much the agents loved it and how they kept talking about it. So now I have a great relationship with Maria at the board. Anytime I ask for something, she's always willing to help me with it, whether it's in the board office or not. She'll promote during the pandemic. I've done lunch and learns. We did it through Zoom. She promoted that for me. If I have a happy hour, or if I'm doing something with my partner's title guy and so on and so forth, she'll promote that. So it's one hand washes the other, and the board was a big catalyst to that. And they always want me to come back. They always accept me with open arms. Obviously, COVID we got some things in the works coming up in November when they open their doors again, because they're just catching up. But, I reached out to her a year and a half later, and she was like, let's do it. Whenever you're ready, let's get it on the board. So utilizing folks that you work with outside of real estate or within your business and the board is tremendous, because they're promoting for you and with you. But also you're giving back to them. Obviously getting people in the board office, that's what they want, So when the board co-signs on a class, that speaks volumes, because it's coming from them personally. So the agents know that it is legitimate. There is no cost associated with it. And that's really where it's meaningful.
I think a big part of it too is
I don't know the answer to the question yet, but I want to ask you, Pat. I've always learned that elite producers are the ones that seek the next level knowledge, right?
Correct.
And Mark touched on Wales, came in. Do you find it's all newbies coming into these trades, or do you find that there's some huge team leaders and
there's definitely some high producing agents that come. There's a lot of high producing agents that will ask their team members to come and get educated as well. I work with a couple high producers that I've met through Lunch and Learns. Actually, one of which that I met at our first class, the staging class, and I still work with her till today, and we do a lot of business together. So yeah, it's not just your new agents; it's also your agents that have been doing this 10, 15, 20 plus years. So,
and you just said a jewel for me. You did an event months ago, met a lady, and you're still doing residential referral purchase
Correct.
business with her today. So there's an annuity aspect of investing in a realtor, right? It's you invest that course or that event, and you invest your time getting to know them and constructing a relationship, and then that pays dividends for sometimes decades, to be honest.
Correct.
I know Marker's working on the same relationships 9 years later that we introduced him to back in 2012 and 13, right? So
it's incredible.
Pat, you have some of the strongest realtor referral relationships, your product and your pricing, but also your service. And just want to tie a big bow on the work you did with the Gloucester-Salem Board of Realty. Are you doing work with any other real estate boards now? Or are you looking to over the next few months? Or are you staying?
Yeah, I want to. The whole expansion plan started coming to fruition right when COVID started. So I kind of put the brakes on a lot of what we were working on. So now it's like back to square one, if you will. And second half of this year leading up into next year, I definitely want to expand to other boards, maybe into Pennsylvania and whatnot. Really just expand the model as much as we can. And my reach and the company's reach.
Amen. Kelsey, you have anything you want to add till I jump on Michael Cancio down in Florida?
I think I'll just add that, as I'm sitting here listening to you guys talk, and Pat, like you said, being able to have a platform to step into to give you the education where you can take it and run with it, or leverage the speakers that we've hired behind the platform, behind that specific topic. There's different ways to adapt and use this platform. And I think that, as you said, people are there because of your energy. And I think when you can harness that and marry that with education and good energy, people don't wake up motivated. We have to motivate ourselves every single day. So you're an accountability partner for these people also to get out there and do the consistency, the steps that a lot of times people may not feel like it, but know that they need to take no matter what. So you have become an accountability partner for these top performers. They look at you, they respect you, and they're grateful. And I hear it all the time. So thanks for sharing.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Pat. And I know you're one of the few that took the ambitious move to get on stage yourself and start teaching. That hasn't been a common theme across the AnnieMac Nation. And you said you do it about as good as I do. It's just that I'm so much better looking than you. I command a little bit more attention up there than you would. I understand how that would be the case, Pat.
Yeah, I mean, every time you get up on stage, you're selling yourself and your personality, and you captivate the audience. And no one's falling asleep when you're up there. And I learned a lot from that, because nobody wants to watch a boring movie or go to a boring show. People are going to want to leave. So if you do a good job, they're really going to gravitate towards you. And I owe that all to you, basically.
Aww. You didn't bite on that good looks thing, but we'll let that go. Michael, go ahead and unmute. I want to talk to Michael Cancio for just a minute.
Speaking of good looks.
Nick on the mic.
Yes. Michael, you moved from a market that you were already a successful mortgage professional. You and Melissa took a look at a little small town just south of Ponte Vedra, I believe, or just outside of Ponte Vedra, around the Jacksonville market in northeast Florida. And Melissa and Michael decided, hey, let's just pick up where we've been successful and move to a place that we don't know anyone. So the first thing I want to do is just congratulate you. I think you're doing $2 million a month right now, and you're having a kicking going into summer. And you're definitely someone who I'm so very proud of. Before we get into the specifics of what you did, tell us about that transition to a new market and how you justified, kind of entering in no man's land where you didn't really know any realtors.
No, it was a little crazy move. I wish it was a little bit more methodical, or there was a better methodology than what we did, but it was truly about the school district. This county has 10 out of 10 grade school, middle school, high school. And so not only is that great for our son, but it's also a place that people are going to buy houses, right? And keep buying houses. And it's also one of the most affluent per capita counties in the entire state. So higher loan volumes. So it was kind of one of those things. We took a leap of faith. We'd never really been here. We bought the house sight unseen, and we just kind of picked it up and moved.
Well, I think one of the first things you did is you contacted Carrie about the Farming Fridays program.
Yep.
And you said, what would it feel like if we put together 6 weeks in a row with a bunch of realtors that we've never met before? Talk about the promotion of it first. Then let's talk about the execution of what you did with a 6-week coaching program down in Nocatee.
Yeah, so I think that, I was transitioning from being the person that was, to becoming a fisherman. I was getting the majority of my volume from Zillow and from BNI. And, the amount of time that I was putting into BNI, I was like, hey, I can do the same amount of weekly effort and touch more realtors doing something different like the Farming Fridays. And so I looked at the 6-week program and looked at it as 6 weeks of opportunity. and found a title company, an accountant, a financial advisor, a home inspector, and a HOI company to help co-sponsor that event, but not only to kind of have some subject matter experts that marries very well with the farming philosophy, but also to help put butts in seats, because I knew one realtor in this county, when I got here. So, so one of the, I believe it was 31 people that we had attend the first day of the class were people I actually knew.
You actually graduated about 26, if I remember correctly, right?
We had a nice consistency. I was looking back through the numbers. I think we ended up graduating 19. Okay. And so, but we had that kind of started at 31. We were hovering at around 25 and we graduated 18.
Well, the most important thing is how many deals did you do during that 6 weeks with the realtors that were in that class? I want to remember that number.
That was nice. Yeah, I got 10 deals out of those 18, 3 of which were actually personal loans for the realtors themselves, people I've never met before. And so I was super excited. That first 60 days was about 10 to 12 deals. And
I remember that you paid for the first luncheon because you were just getting it started, but then you had no capital investment for the rest of the 6-week program. The other vendors were helping you out.
Exactly. 6 weeks, 6 presenters, me being the first. I brought all the presenters in for the first week, and I covered the cost of the first week. And then each week, the other people covered their dog and pony show.
Well, what I remember so much about that is it's not intuitive for most people to make it feel as large as you made it. You did group photographs. You did a private Facebook group. You did a lot of camaraderie building within that Farming Fridays initiative. Touch on that and Melissa's role as a photographer and how you got those group shots and how much of an impact that made for you in the team that you built with your realtor referral partners.
Yeah, I think Pat touched on it, right? Like it's part of the presenting is the selling of yourself, and nobody wants death by PowerPoint, right? You really got to create that energy. And so we started every class off by a group exercise type of thing. Every week was something different. It was a different kind of an icebreaker. We did weekly rock stars. We did what we called the rock star review. And so we played music and people got to kind of tell each other what they learned and what secrets that they picked up from the weekly class, from the weekly homework. So I thought that brought a lot of energy. And with having a wife as a professional photographer, not only does she help make my headshots look good, but it's nice to be able to have that eye for catching the excitement. So, you remember the Facebook group where we had tons of just really candid shots that were just amazing and really show the energy. And a lot of these realtors, I got to tell you that even though I went back and counted it, we had 12 different brokerages represented in that class. And a lot of those agents are still kind of friendly with each other, right? Which is really kind of cool.
One of the brokerages that were involved in that class was RE/MAX Unlimited, if I'm not mistaken. And you asked me to go visit with them for a little bit that week. I ended up happened to be in town. I ran over to RE/MAX Unlimited with you. How's that transition? And tell me about that one agent that you built a really, really strong, mutually beneficial relationship with.
It's really amazing how that whole story happened. I appreciate you bringing that up. One of the agents took the class. She was with RE/MAX Unlimited, and she was relatively green. She introduced me to the broker, and the broker really actually kind of said, "Hey, look, you know what? If you're good by her, you're good by me. Show me what you got." And so I said, "Hey, I just so happen to have a rock star with me, Russ. So why don't we come in there and shake some babies and kiss some hands?" And so so we went in there and we had a nice conversation. And the interesting thing about it, it turns out like 3 of their agents are in my neighborhood, like within 1/8 of a mile of my house, right? And so it was really cool. And one of the agents has now become a broker owner of a Colwell office. And I'm actually helping host their launch party, coming up here pretty soon. So that's exciting. But this realtor in particular that you're asking about, that the relationships really blossomed. Not only has she grown as a realtor, she's a perfect example of the growth that comes from really adopting the Worx philosophy. Her production has probably doubled in the last 16 to 18 months. But she, her and I are doing a monthly newsletter now. I'm getting several pre-approvals from her a month. I've probably got 3 transactions with her right now. All over $500,000 loans. And we did a bunch of flags that we learned in Farming Friday class for 4th of July. And we got on a little golf cart and, passed out flags to the neighbors. And then we put some in yards and lined the streets, kind of like luminaries throughout the yard. And, and it's nice. It's a great relationship. And she even let me borrow her golf cart. So it was like, hey, look, it's basic, which Mason loved. So,
Mason's my favorite. He's been up to visit me here in the Carolinas. I took him gem mining with you he found a couple of rubies and some sapphires, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Mason's about, 6 years old now?
He just turned 7, actually. Look at this.
Okay.
Look at this.
You got your jewels.
Oh,
We
right
found
there.
gems in the Carolina mountains.
Yeah, at Mason Mountain of all places.
Mason Mountain. The gems that you found in Farming Fridays are still paying an annuity of benefits and ROI for you today. We'll use that as a perfect segue off. And Michael, I just want to touch on the fact that you contributed as much as you took from Worx, because that work you did with that newsletter in the farm area with that RE/MAX agent is going into the class as an addendum for all the nation to learn from. It's just a fantastic relationship, and only one of 10 or 12 good, consistent referral partners that you built out of that one event. So you're doing another event in September. You've already called me to invite me back into Nocatee. Yes. I'm planning on coming in at the end of September to be at another Farming Friday 6-week event for you, right?
Yes, sir. Yep, we got one starting off at we're doing it at a wine bistro. So I think you actually coined the term Wine Wednesdays, so that'll be fun. But yeah, we're starting off in September, doing it again in a different county, actually, with a different group of sponsors, right? So capitalizing on their relationships and that 6 degrees of separation to kind of help get those warm introductions.
Well, I'm going to pass it back to Kelsey. I have a few things that I'd like to end on. Maybe show the broker sign-up sheet and show the variety of courses that these MLOs and mortgage professionals are choosing from. You want me to go ahead and jump into that right now, Kelsey?
Yeah, you read my mind. Let's put some visuals. We've got tons of questions, and I know we're running out of time, and everyone who asks questions, we'll definitely take the time to answer. But yeah, go ahead, Rush. Share your screen.
Well, before I go, I want one more big thank you to Kelsey for putting this together. Michael, Pat, Mark, shining example for the rest of the AnnieMac Nation is how you're embracing the tools. Some really awesome, opportunity for us to discover best practices directly from the horse's mouth. So thank you one more time. And I'm going to show my screen for just a second. And I want to tell you guys, there are some terminologies that have become commonplace and staple to the AnnieMac Nation, right? Things like real estate staging, renovation lending, conversations about take 10 listings, and some of the coaching programs, and that nomenclature has become so common among the AnnieMac loan officers nationally. But there's some new terminology that I'm going to share with you today that's going to become the common phrases that we'll be using into 2022 and 2023. Guys like Mark and Pat and Michael, haven't even gotten brought up to speed with the new EXP play. The work that we're doing with EXP nationally is exploding. The EXP leaders are embracing EXP Worx, and the EXP play has become a camaraderie builder between AnnieMac Home Mortgage and EXP. Kelsey, can you see my screen real quick?
We sure can.
The second terminology I think that Pat Staffa and Mark Townsend's work has really brought to mind is this idea of board games. Instead of going to a real estate brokerage, go to the Board of Realty and partner with the Board of Realty on events. So we're going to be moving the board games philosophy further. And a surprise to everybody online, I sat with a handful of OPs and team leaders at Keller Williams, and we are launching KW Campus just for Keller Williams agents and team leaders across the country. And that's going to be something that will have legs into the next several years. So couldn't be more excited about that. And this sheet has become a very important document for AnnieMac mortgage professionals across the country. And I think the reason it's so important is because it truly empowers the Board of Realty's education director or the membership director at the board or the broker owner or team leader. By helping the broker owner prioritize how they want to use Worx, they can go right into certifications and choose the certifications they want to enter. They can go into training modules and pick from a handful of training modules. Down here are the coaching programs like Farming Fridays and Take 10 Listings that Michael used. And then probably our most popular event happens on the first Wednesday of every month. We host a National Lunch and Learn League event, and then we're allowed to use those in an on-demand fashion moving forward in that relationship. So if Caldwell Banker or Century 21 or Remax decides to partner with AnnieMac, they've got this arsenal of on-demand events and the National Lunch and Learn League to pull from. Any observations or questions on that issue, Kelsey, before I move on off the broker sign-up sheet?
No, I'll just add, this is what you take to every coffee appointment. This is what you take when you go and you want a business plan with your referral partners, understanding where are our weaknesses? Where are our strengths? What are we trying to improve on? And I think for every person, this is why we call it a menu. When we go out to dinner, we don't order everything off the menu. We pick and choose, what's going to really satisfy us. So, for loan officers out there that are looking for that substance, for that guide, that's actually going to come in and be a turnkey platform for you, ask us for a copy of this, comment in the comment section. I will make sure that you get a copy of this so you can review. And again, if you are an AnnieMac loan officer and you're not leveraging this, you guys and gals, take some time and talk with us, talk with Russ, myself, these three gentlemen that have been reaping the rewards of just taking action.
And most MLOs pick one or two courses that they become fond of and they use those over and over. But the reality, I'd bet you a nice steak dinner anywhere in the country that if you brought this into almost any broker owner in the country, 9 times out of 10, you're not going to find a broker that doesn't say, what's that one about? What's that about? Could we maybe talk about this coaching program? This menu really becomes a conversation starter for you and your broker partners, team leaders, these recruiting initiatives at EXP, and maybe one of our greatest achievements is the KW campus and what's going on with Keller Williams nationally. So enough said on that. If there's questions about it, I would love to dig deeper into the board games and broker sign up. I want to switch gears for just one more minute, if I could, Kelsey. This automation has become a boon for a lot of the folks that have already started to implement it. This came out of a conversation with some $1 million earners at AnnieMac, guys and ladies that were earning over $1 million in commissions. And they said, Russ, we just need to simplify it. We just need to automate it and simplify it. We don't want to, maybe be a brand ambassador. We don't have the time maybe to do all these extra things. So what we did is we gave them a teleprompter and about 25 minutes worth of work to do. And if they do that 25 minutes worth of work with their teleprompter one time, we've automated the promotions of all these events, and they don't have to be at them. They don't have to even, they just send out this information to their realtors, and the realtors raise their hand and say, I'd like to be there. So as an example, the 2-minute teacher script for staging. Okay, I've got a Virginia Beach branch manager that just filmed this, sent it out through our Denim social automation email and our social media automation, and he's already got hand raisers calling him back from the real estate community saying, I'd like to host this at my office. And we did that with almost every course, every value proposition within the AnnieMac Nation, anything from the pet-friendly real estate agent to financial wellness for realtors, white labeled brokerage sites and coaching programs are all built into these 89-second scripts. And I've just seen, it become sort of a digital loan partner for our MLOs. It does the work for them in a digital format, and I'm just very, very proud of that automation being built in. So any questions or thoughts about that before we move on?
I actually did my first.
Too much?
No, it's great. I did my first 2-minute teacher videos on pet friendly and staging, and I posted the pet friendly one. My inbox got blown up by agents saying, I need this, I want this. And the pet friendly was the most popular, and it's continued to rise above them all. And it's such an emotional connection we make. And believe it or not, realtors will lose commission to pets, and people come across objections due to their pets, whether due to the homeowners associations and breed restrictions and weight restrictions. And I think serving was such an impact with service dogs and veterans needing their service dogs, autistic families, disabled or the elderly, right? So it's such a niche that we've kind of stuck our foot in the door, and just by putting it out there, the amount of attraction, it's blown my mind.
Kelsey, I don't work on instant messenger very often on Facebook. I don't go in it every day to see what's going on, but I started getting pings after your video went out. It was a realtor from Saskatchewan, Canada, realtor from Ontario, realtor from the Pacific Northwest pinging me because of your video. So there's a lot of demand that's pent up for some of these courses, especially because COVID kind of shut stuff down. And we've just got a great opportunity with the AnnieMac Nation. Are there some questions on the board that we should deal with, or should we start to wrap up?
Well, there's one question on here that I'm actually a little curious about. David, shout out to David. He asks, do loan officers from other companies attend some of these lunch and learns, or, do we politely decline, their entrance, or does it become a recruiting opportunity? I know some of you are looking to build your team and scale your team. Is this, from your guys' opinion, what's your approach?
Anybody there looking to bring on subordinate MLOs yet?
We do the board, when we do the Tri-County board, we're not allowed to attend there. If we have the same type of business, we're not allowed to attend it. So, but to that point, one of the best compliments I've ever gotten was when they reached out to me and said, Mark, listen, we want to get you signed up because everybody's asking, that we went through the COVID, so they kind of canceled everything. They now have reached out to me right away, said, listen, can you do September? Can you do October? So they're telling me that. What it's done is the other agents, the other mortgage people are now asking me, what are you guys doing? So that has led to some opportunities there.
Wow.
I love for a mortgage professional to wallflower an AnnieMac Worx event, because you can see the light bulbs going off in their head. They can see the realtors responding, and it is a great recruitment opportunity. The first recruit that was at an event down in Delray Beach, Florida with us was a $2.5 million a month producer way before the refi boom. And he joined AnnieMac Home Mortgage as a direct result of sitting in one of these courses. So Travis Olson's probably doing the best job in the country right now as for recruiting. A big shout out to Travis. He's using the Realtor Productivity Platform to attract tremendous amount of talent. And obviously Kelsey contributes to that so much, but I just couldn't help but mention Travis Olson out there in the Pacific Northwest. Green territory, blue water opportunity for AnnieMac Home Mortgage, and he is making it happen out there. Big shout out to Travis Olson.
Big shout out. Go ahead, Michael.
While I can't speak on, having the mortgage people there, I think it's a good opportunity for what's happened with that RE/MAX office that Russ and I spoke about. Is we did that renovation class, and we structured it as a way for that broker to recruit more agents to come in. And he advertised it that way. So not only did he have a large portion of his own agents there, but he also used it as a recruiting mechanism, the renovation class.
And not to dominate that's exactly what the EXP play is all about. The EXP leadership interest in Worx surrounds their recruiting ambitions, right? So we're able to now partner with an EXP leader in Maryland who maybe brings 10 or 12 or 15 realtors a week to an event. And then maybe a couple of them blossom into recruit candidates for either EXP or KW, RE/MAX, whatnot. It's all about giving value before asking for anything in return. That's what the whole AnnieMac Nation is about.
Amen. Well, I'll end on this. So this is one of the best kept secrets out there. 99% of my loan officers who end up joining AnnieMac, this is one of their biggest differentiators. And I'd say this is one of the biggest reasons we have about a 9 to 10 average unit per month count for our loan officers across the entire company, and how we've continued to increase our purchase business in a refi market and allowing them to have loan officers to have their cake and eat it too, and being able to support both ends of the spectrum. But we've been doing this. I've been representing AnnieMac Worx and AnnieMac for almost 8 years. And every year we evolve. I feel like every minute we evolve and we learn from what works and what doesn't, right? Works if you work it. And, you know, we're big fans. Shout out to Susie Bruner, the Works queen down in New Smyrna, Florida. But with that said, you know, as much as we want anything, without a plan, it's a wish, right? So as we are looking to take action and prepare for sustainable growth, a shout out to my mentor, Paul Zinn. One of the quotes sticks out in my head. The single point focus and a single point strategy to sustainable business is to build relationships before you need them. So my message to all of us is to take the time to hear these testimonials, see how you can tweak, how you can bob and weave in your business and maybe dance a little different way to reap a large reward, because these guys have simply taken the time to implement and look at where their lives, from financial freedom to quality of life to a sustainable business that they're going to continue to live on within legacy and generational wealth for their family. So I couldn't be more grateful for all of your guys' time. We're just about up on the hour, so stay tuned for the next episode on the Inside Edge. Follow these guys on social media, pick their brains, ask questions, and everybody, thank you for tuning in. This was amazing.
Thanks so much, Pat,
Thank
Michael,
you.
Mark.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, guys.
All right, have a great weekend.
You too.
Bye-bye.